1:37, we're back in, and wow, it's today is really one of those days of stepping into it. Starting off, life is a circle, it goes round and round. That life is a circle, goes round and round. That right there today is resonating so deep with right now. For one, I literally walked a big circle to where we started off at here at the Mayan corridor. And literally on the back side of the Mayan corridor, okay, there's a place across the street off of Wilshire. This is on 6th Street. It's called We Spa. And you can go in there, I think it's $25, $26 or maybe $30. Spend all day, 24 hours inside of there, which I haven't done yet since. But just to show you, we were back at the same spot, okay? Same spot. And what happens is, as I was walking back up Wilshire, I see this lady, and she's sitting on the sidewalk, on the curb, and she is older. She looked like she's out of breath, and she waves her help. She says, "Help, help, help, help," And so, at first I was not hesitant to help and everything, but I was just, I had to gain my bearings and everything to make sure, everything was good and everything. And it was good, even with that of what she was wearing. She was wearing the same black and white that me and my mom was wearing when they took that picture last and everything. Even the very last picture where she was actually in yellow though. But prior to the black and white, she is definitely one of the sisters of the sun, the dawning of the sun. It's why she said, "Rise, rise and shine, rise and shine, rise and shine." And so this elderly lady and everything, she was older than me. So it looked like, honestly, in the face, she looked the same age as me. Actually, she could have been younger by face, I kid you not. But evidently was, her body was not in good function with her breath and everything. Sin-cho. She's actually Korean. And she gave me her keys and went ahead and told me to park her car straight because it was crooked, And I went and parked the car straight. Then we came back, and then we walked on up to her place and everything. And this is right here is one of them, okay? One of them for real. I'm expecting to, and we're taking our time to walk too because it's like a little incline. It's a little incline from where we even, where she's parked at. And as we walk up into the apartment building, she goes ahead, and we have to take another break. That's what I looked and said, wow, she looks younger than me, or young as me. And I know the dyeing of the hair, but we're just talking about the skin. The skin looked young as me or younger. I had more wrinkles than she does. And, even darkness up under my eye and all that stuff, she didn't have any of that. Not any of it. And the whole thing about it, she was that number of the sun, or soon, in the I Ching also that I 57, 57. It's three sons, 19 three times, you know, 19 three times. And that was the Ringa. That was the Ringa, you know, literally Ringa. I was like, wow, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. And so even I'm thinking at that point in time, you know, I go ahead and drop off, you know, leave the door. I mean, wait at the door and drop off the bags and so forth. But even, you know, if you've ever been out of, well, you have it in every country. Before you go inside anybody's house, you take off your shoes. So I did go ahead and take off my shoes and bring the bags in, you know, and we sat there. Well, we didn't sit. I just went ahead and set the bags down, and I had to ask her name a couple of times, and then because I was trying to place too where she was from, whether it was China, you know, or whether it was Vietnam or Korean. But actually, I knew it wasn't Vietnam. I knew she wasn't Vietnamese. So whether it was China or Korea, and it happened to be Korea. 6:33 on the clock. And so this right here was like, you know, like I say, life is a circle. I don't believe in like the circle of life, you know. And what we did right there, that was a reflection of each other, to where she pulled me in because I was literally, you know, I stayed forward. I look around. That's how I saw her, you know. But I pretty much stayed stepping, and, you know, and I didn't even stop, unfortunately, like a dummy, you know, with a woman that was really at the same circle on the other side, but it's my corridor, you know, 2 streets over. That was her post, and she cried, you know, and she cried, you know, because things was not all right. Things was not all right. She said, "No, it's not all right." And you know, and I said, it's gonna get better, and it is gonna get better. It is gonna get better, you know. But I just want to share that life is a circle. It goes round and round. And if we go ahead and be the dawn, you know, be the sun. Be the sun to all of our mothers, all of our elders, and which come up to be as our, you know, we birth them back into this life circle. Okay? For what? Why do we do that and everything? Because we all don't see too far, you know, with the places that we live. And in order to have, honestly, a grand view of a bigger, you know, like my grand butterfly, you know, mi abuela, or mariposa rosa, mariposa etel, you know, even grandeur mariposa etel, you know, and all of that was reflection inside of her right there, you know. And she was so, I mean, we were just, honestly, like I said, if she didn't, and I know she spoke English a little bit, and I didn't push the conversation in any direction or anything like that. But one, I know we were catching our breath. You know, I was catching mine a little bit too, you know. But that's what we're talking about. As a matter of fact, that was part of Denzel's 888, you know, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, and 8 hours of getting out and taking care of yourself and that of our, you know, our mothers, our brothers, our, you know, our sisters and so forth, even our kakas, okay? Even la caca sometimes, you know. But no, but I needed to go ahead compartir este estrella, what is it called? Cuento, este cuento, porque esa es una muy bien cuenta, and that we all should be looking to do outside and even inside of our normal walk and day. Make it a part of our day to do something like to do these things. You know, make it a part of our day, which is basically yad, which is basically not lend a hand, but give that hand. Give that hand. To whomever it is that we see, meet along the way, and that is what's going to make the better day. 11:09 on the clock. That is what's going to make the better day. Even if we had a shitty one prior to this point, and it's not like you did it for yourself either. But we receive, we can even say, I'll even say the residual. We receive it. So, yeah, that's it. Just wanted to share that one with you because it really brought me, we're talking about being the son, as I was probably young enough to be, probably her son too. But it got me some soulless, as we're talking about soul. Brought me some soul ace, like the ace, you know what I'm saying? Ace of that soul. When that right there happened. That was cool, some good stuff. Okay, let me let you get in. And let me get out of here, so I gotta focus up a little bit. Alright? Talk to you a little bit later. And again, thank you.